Thanks for staying with us. I am Bill O'Reilly, and in the Miller Time segment tonight, let's get right to the sage of Southern California. He joins us in Santa Barbara. All right, Miller, so your daily radio syndicated program, you're going to hear from folks all over the country. What are they saying to you?
You know, I would say the most interesting tidbit I gleaned, and it's from a woman who doesn't call a lot but comments a lot on the site. Her name's Mary Z. She had a fine boy who fought for us named Andrew. And she said the most interesting thing, Billy, and I think you always have to keep your ear to the ground because people have insights. When she said the reason nobody's laying claim to this like they do in the past is because Barack Obama has proven himself so adroit at targeted drone use that's not the business to be in anymore, laying claim to things. I believe our intelligence agencies have the equivalent of maps of the stars' homes of the preeminent terrorist organization. I don't think you want to be out there saying, I did that, in a world where, like I said, the president has upped, increased, and is better at drone use.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment. People, are they sad, angry, generally speaking, when they call you? What's the attitude?
I would say if I had to play amateur shrink, they're all angry, but we live in a weird time where, I don't know, I watched Jesse Waters yesterday, and you can see that there's a lot of machinations, almost a Rube Goldbergian gear set that goes in to us tamping down what we now assume to be our basest instincts, which I still think of as common sense. Everybody has a take on this. Human beings do guess in the immediate wake of things. If you want to zip your guess inside, that's fine. If you want to say your guess out loud on what happened here, I don't view it as the worst crime against humanity. I find it interesting how hesitant we are just to feel like, I'd like to find out who did this, and I wish they got killed. You know, you see a lot of people maneuvering around that. You know, Billy,
not yesterday, though, up with Waters. I mean, you had people go crucify the guy, you know, beat him, and that
I saw a couple of those, Bill. Right. I saw you don't concur that there were a few people I watched with Waters, and they were kind of saying that's a loaded term. That's this. I wanted to say something real quickly about Axelrod and the president's reaction to this, and I saw you're saying that you were, listen, I'm not, this is no conspiracy thing. I don't dislike the president, but when I watch those two things back to back, there are a couple interesting things there. Bill, do you have 1 second?
Sure, yeah, absolutely, go.
Well, it reminded me of Tiger Woods after the fact, saying that he moved the ball back a couple yards in the Masters and therefore stepping in it. On day 2, when the president says, any time bombs are used against innocents, it's terrorism. At that point, day 1 becomes important to me. In a vague way, I just go, wow, well, yesterday he didn't say that. And the second thing is when he said we want to find out who did this and why they did this. I find why to be such a superfluous consideration at that point. I don't need to know their alibi. I think when you parse madness, it is a fool's errand. I just want to know who did it, and I want them to be brought to justice. So there were a couple things there. And lastly, when Axelrod says the president did not want to use the word terrorist because everybody knows what that means these days, I think he was saying that what they mean is radical Islamic terrorists. Listen, when I say food stamp recipients, I mean food stamp recipients. I don't mean black people. When I say terrorists, I mean terrorists. I don't necessarily mean Islamic terrorists. I want Axelrod to do me the ultimate gesture and quit figuring out what I mean.
Excellent, Miller. All right, I'm going to book a Boulder Fresher show in Barney Frank's block right in front of his house. All right? And we'll get the crowd, and they can watch us. And then after the show, you and I are going to go to Barney's house, drag him out, and we can't do physical violence to him. That wouldn't be good. He's an old man. But we'll scorn him. You and I will scorn him.
Here's the thing about Barney Frank. Sometimes I find that liberals, in lieu of actual empathetic gestures, heartfelt empathy, they turn it into an affair of their mind. They intellectually empathize with you. Barney Frank will tell you everything he does is for the disenfranchised, the people underfoot. And you just want to say, can you start your empathy by just not being a jerk to the people you come across in your day-to-day life? Can you take a moment and not be so arrogant about your inner voice that you bring it out immediately in the wake of a tragedy like this and tell us what you feel? Be heartfelt empathetic, not head-driven empathetic.
Dennis Miller, everybody. That was one of your best segments, Miller. We appreciate it very much.
Young kid with a dream, Billy. I'm a young kid with a dream.
All right.